Okie dokie. Whenever you're ready, Ravash, let's kick this thing off.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. I think we are set. So, hey everyone, happy Monday, and welcome to another town hall where we will be discussing about our mobile apps as well as snapshots. So, it has been a good month for the mobile apps. We have been shipping out a lot of different features, and the mobile app overall has been making strides in multiple areas, be it conversations, calendars, contacts, social planner, all these different modules, right? So let's just have a quick recap of what went down in July and what is in store for the rest of this quarter over the next 2 months. So yeah, let's cover the mobile app first. The first thing that we had shipped out, and this was if I remember, at the start of this month, and that was basically WhatsApp templates available inside conversations. So the idea is that just the way you use SMS and email snippets inside the mobile app or even on your GHL web, the same thing is now possible on WhatsApp on the mobile app. So all you have to do is just start a new WhatsApp message or head over to an existing conversation where you are using WhatsApp as your channel. Just tap the three dots icon and select message snippets. And that's where you'll see this bottom sheet open up where you get to browse through different templates that you may have already created. So the supported templates are text, image, file, location, video, basically media, maps, everything. So as long as you are creating all your snippets on web, you can use them for every single conversation on WhatsApp on the mobile apps. So this is live already, and it's available on both high-level lead connector as well as on the white label mobile apps. In case you haven't requested for an update, I recommend definitely do so and make the most out of this feature.
Does the snippets have to be created as templates first before you're able to use them in the mobile app?
Yeah, so there is no way today to create snippets. You can send a regular WhatsApp message, but to use media files or location or something else, you would have to use the web platform first and just make sure everything is configured good to go and it's easily accessible on the mobile app.
So in essence, it's actually just a template that is being chosen,
Pretty much, yes.
not snippets in the traditional sense of the word, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly right.
Uh, are WhatsApp groups also supported?
WhatsApp groups today aren't, but that's one of our items for Q3. We are waiting for the web team to get everything sorted out, and we will soon be adding support for this on mobile.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Moving ahead to the next item on the list. Another thing that went live were a couple of improvements that we made to conversations. The first thing was, of course, with Conversation AI. And this was a feature that was shipped out, I believe, 2 months back. But it did become a little tedious to use given the fact that, of course, a mobile device is much smaller than, well, a laptop or a desktop. So you do not have the same amount of space to deal with large pieces of text. And when AI generally generates responses, they do cross 3 to 4 lines to make sure that the replies are, they cover every single bit of the context and they basically solve your problem without you having to manually type out the answer. But the problem with that is you do not get to see the entire preview. So with the existing implementation, the way we had done it before was that you tap on the bubble, which is a suggested reply. You get to see the entire text. And if you do not resonate with it, you will have to, of course, remove it, choose another reply, see if that one fits the bill. If not, delete it once again and move over to the next reply and so on, right? So a lot of time wasted. So what we have done is we have introduced conversation AI previews where if conversation AI is active and it is generating replies, you have an option to open up this bottom sheet that gives you a preview of every single response, right? So you can scroll through this, you can just read the text quickly, just choose the one that is applicable to you, and then just hit use on this. And the message then gets added to your conversation, and you can then send it out. Or if you would like to make some edits, that's possible as well. So yeah, that was one improvement that we have made. Apart from that, we have also introduced the ability to send out review requests from within the conversation window. So all you have to do is just head over to the conversation window of the relevant contact, tap on the three dots icon on the top right, something like this that you see here, and just you will see the option to send a review request. And you tap on this, and there you go. You have sent out your review request. And finally, there was another feature that was added very recently, and this is if you are making a phone call to a contact, not through high level or not through lead connector, but via another source, we are still able to record a log inside the conversation window so that you are completely aware of the entire context of the conversation that is going on. And well, you don't miss out on anything that, well, could be important. So yeah, a couple of
Just
different
say more
improvements.
about that.
I'm sorry.
Just say more what you mean about that. I mean, are you saying that if I just make a normal phone call with the app open to a customer that is
Right.
already in the contact list, that will be logged?
Yes.
Wow.
Very cool. Do we have WhatsApp supported yet for conversational AI as a channel?
I'm not entirely sure if we
Not
have
today.
Million
Not
We'll
today,
we'll,
Bush.
not today,
we'll
right?
talk to the conversation AI team on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to just
If it's not, it's definitely coming soon.
Yeah, it should be there. Like in my best uh, knowledge, it should be there. Otherwise, if it's not, like we should be having it pretty soon. It doesn't make sense to not have it in WhatsApp.
100%.
Yeah, it's planned at the moment, but I'm not quite sure if it's coming in mobile. I think that's
Oh, no,
the
100%. If it does get supported on web, we will make sure that it's there on mobile, because mobile becomes a very easy channel to, of course, send out your messages on. So definitely, if once it gets rolled out on web, we will be supporting it almost instantly.
Perfect. Okay.
All right. Moving on to some other improvements that we have made to another module, which is, of course, calendars or appointments. And actually, a whole massive list over here. So we have the ability to now change a contact while you're scheduling an appointment. So if you are setting up the time slot, setting up, the meeting location, all of that, and you want to suddenly change the contact to, well, a different email or a different, contact altogether, you can do that. The contact card will now be accessible by tapping on it and then choosing a completely different contact if you need
Hey,
to.
Siri.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
he just muted. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that is one thing that we have shipped out. Another thing was, of course, the support for adding multiple team members when you are making a collective booking. So if you do that, you get to choose all of your team members, or, whichever ones are necessary for that meeting, and they get added to the appointment. Uh, Also, there was another feature on labs under, of course, on GHL Web, where if you turn on this toggle for feature flags, you get to have the time zone for calendars and, of course, every other module based on your own time zone. So that ability has been reflected on mobile app as well. So if you have that toggle turned on under labs for that sub account, then that would reflect on the mobile app. So all your appointments will be in your own time zone, and you don't have to, really worry about missing out on any meetings. So apart from that, in case you don't have that turned on, we have also introduced time zone abbreviation support. So when you see the time slot for a particular meeting, you will also see the time zone for that meeting slot. So you know that in case you get confused if this time zone is for your own time zone, or if your client is in a different time zone, well, no worries. You have a clear indication right here, and then you can, clear out your schedule and make amends as necessary. Also, custom value support is now available for meeting locations. So if you tap on the meeting location area, you will get the option to, of course, connect your Zoom or Google Meet. And there are a couple of custom values, of course, applicable here. So you can basically define something, you can use custom values and then input your own text content into the field to just adjust the meeting location to whatever you deem fit. So that has also been shipped out. Kudos to the calendars team.
Awesome.
All right. So what is in store for August? So next month is going to be pretty huge because we are shipping out quite a few features. A lot on the conversation side, a lot on the calendar side. So let's take a look. The first one is, of course, draft conversations. So this is something where the implementation is almost complete and we are just running our final tests. And this should be live very soon. So the implementation is pretty simple. The idea is that if you type in a message inside a conversation window, and then for some situation you decide to exit that conversation and just leave the app, right? Maybe do something else. Maybe you're running a chore or something. And then when you come back and open the same conversation window, you will see the text has been retained. So it doesn't go away. And the idea is that you never ever miss out on anything that you have written or done overall, and just it makes life easier. So in case imagine if you've typed out a whole massive email and you left the conversation to only to come back and see that your text is gone. Well, that would not be the ideal scenario. So to solve for that, draft messages are now going to be a thing.
Awesome. Dia's asking is this going to be available on the web app as well? That's a good
Yes.
question.
Yes, it is. So we
Yeah.
are shipping out this simultaneously with the web team to ensure that whatever conversations that you create on web do not get lost on mobile and vice versa. So if you're doing something on mobile, it should be retained on web. So that's our strategy, and that's how we will be shipping this out.
Right.
Awesome. So another thing that has been on web, at least for conversations, and was lacking on the mobile side for quite some time, was the support for custom conversation providers. So if you are someone who is, looking to integrate another custom conversation provider from the marketplace, say a channel like Telegram, because Telegram is a channel that has grown popular over the last couple of years, and we have users globally for that. So we, even though we do not have native support for it, there is an extension on the marketplace that you can use. And that same channel will then reflect on your mobile app. So all you have to do is just head over to the chat, tap on this icon, and that's where you'll see a list of all the providers that you can use here. So Telegram would then pop up, and the icon, of course, would reflect on what the icon for that channel has been set to when it was first uploaded to the marketplace. So that's the idea. And just to make sure that every single conversation you've made on web always gets retained on the mobile app and you never ever lose context of whatever has been going on. So yeah, this will be live in August as well.
Super cool. Love this one.
Are there plans to integrate Telegram natively?
This is something I'll have to pass over to our conversations team. They do have a very busy roadmap. Let me just check if they have this already listed. Otherwise, we can plan for integrating this, of course. I would definitely appreciate if you can add something on the ideas board. That will definitely help us prioritize this.
Sure, I'll add it. It's not something that I prefer using at the moment, but there are people that are actually using it. In fact, quite a large part of the community that I'm part of is actually using Telegram instead of WhatsApp. So
For sure. And although Telegram is still supported by a custom conversations provider, if you head over to the marketplace, native integration could still be useful. Yeah. Discord as well. Yes, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
how do I find it? Because I find the marketplace quite chaotic. I can't really search it. Maybe it's just I haven't renewed it, but it's also not categorized. Yeah. It's like I have to go through each individual app in order to figure out the one that I'm looking for.
All right. I think we can take this as feedback. If discovery has been an issue, then we can pass this feedback over to the marketplace team to make sure that this does not occur again. Let me just make a note of this quick.
Yeah, like if
But
you
you
search for
know what
Telegram, it's nothing's popping up for that. I mean, of course we have calendars and so forth, but it doesn't look like there's anything for conversations. So, or wait, I just need to scroll.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Let me
good feedback. We'll get that on over to that team for sure.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Moving on. We have so this feature has been available on web, and that is the ability for you to archive your messages, at least threads that you do not need any longer on your main screen, but you would like a reference to it sometime in the future, right? And with conversations, you would have multiple different message threads running with multiple different contacts, which would eventually lead to your conversation screen getting cluttered. So archive is definitely one way to solve for it. And the way you would be able to access this is by left swiping on a conversation card, where you get to see a menu like this. So you can start the important conversations and archive the conversations that you do not require at the moment. And there will be a filter for you to open up the archive channel and then just check all your conversations and move them out of the archive if you need that again. So that's something that we are shipping out also in August. And the other way to of course for you to access this would be to tap on a particular conversation to open up the conversation window, tap on the three dots icon on the top right, and then you have the option to already mark as read, start conversation, couple of different things, right? And then you will also be able to archive the conversation. So that's something we're shipping out, and it has been requested for quite some time. So apologies for the delay, but this will be going live.
Awesome. Dutch
Morning,
Texan, you got a quick question?
I got now two questions. I was waiting. No, so just to clarify my first question that I had in the chat.
Mhm.
When you save those drafts, if you have multiple users on a sub account, you will see everything for every user and for every single conversation channel.
Mhm.
So if my VA is typing something, I can see that too, if that makes sense.
Right. To the best of my knowledge, I think draft messages are still gonna be retained only for the user and not for sub account as a whole. So the idea is that if you're typing something, it should be restricted only to you. Maybe it could be something
Okay.
that's important and you don't want to, let anyone on to that particular message. Still double check this because we are making sure that we are in line with what the web team is also about to do here. So if there are any changes, I'll definitely let you know. But to the best of my knowledge, this is how the implementation is going to look.
Okay. And my second question, when I open up my app, I see a bunch of those little green dots behind all the conversations. Even when I'm opening up, even if I respond, those green dots are just not labeling. Like, is that something with me or so for example, if somebody sent me a message and I click on it and I read it, that green dot's supposed to be gone, I assume. Even if I respond to that message, the green dots are still there. So how is that work?
Yeah, so as of today, the idea is that you have to manually mark the conversation as read. And this is to make sure that there are no accidental clicks which would lead to you losing access to that conversation because that would eventually move down your list. So that's how we have kept this for now. But I think there has been a discussion going on around this that we will have a toggle in the settings where you can turn off the ability to mark something manually as read. So you will get the choice. If you want, you can just tap on the message to read it. Otherwise, of course, if you want to retain the setting that we have today, that will also be an option. So this is something we
it doesn't make sense with any other platform. Like if WhatsApp comes in or text message comes in and I
think
click
about hi. So think about it when we compare to WhatsApp, right? So WhatsApp is being used by just you as an individual. But when it comes to the sub account, you have like 10 different sub account users or three different agency users who are actually getting into your account. And let's say it's my contact, it's my lead, I have to reply, but suddenly someone else comes in and just reads the message and keeps it like that. So that actually like opens up the chances of those leads getting missed, right? So that's the slight difference. And again, it is very counterintuitive. We know it's counterintuitive. We are solving for it in the best possible way, but comparing it with WhatsApp or any other platform like Facebook or a messenger service would be unfair, just because like the use case is slightly strangled here. Does it make sense?
Yeah, and it makes total sense how you explain it. So, yeah, thank you.
Cool. And then Dia's asking conversation archive, could you instead add the option to select the action when either swiping left or right?
Oh, so
So it sounds like
uh,
you're asking for like customization in terms of what the option is, sort of like in Gmail or whatever. You can say, hey, I want when I swipe right, I want it to archive. When I swipe left, I want to delete, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
The functionality in the Gmail, swiping left or right, at least it is easier for us to say, because I understand the need to mark it as read if or leave it as the green circle in there, because what if instead of leaving it as like the green circle in there, if the assigned user is the one who made a reply or read it or something, or made a reply, and then it will automatically archive, and then if it's not, then it will just stay as is for the other users, because we are like in the team we use this specific third party app in Gmail wherein 40 members are in there, and then it will only be marked as read if we are the one who read it, but then for the other team members, it will be left as unread. So what I mean to say, if it's the assigned user who replied, then it will be automatically set to like close archive or whatnot, just being removed from the conversation list because it's the assigned user that already replied to that contact, instead of replying and then going back and then marking it as archive or something else. And then also with the swipe left or right, it is easier to, if there is an option to reply and then archive, right? Again, for the assigned user, then it will be easier shortcut than doing the next steps. Yeah, like that.
Totally makes sense. Yeah. I think Urvash, let's take these feedback back to the conversation team. In which ways, like we said, this is something that is being discussed and worked upon right now. A lot of brains are involved to make this experience better, but definitely we'll take this feedback and get back to the conversation.
that 100% makes sense. Let me just make a note of this real quick.
Yep, good feedback there. Let's see, Tamara, we've had a snapshot issue for a while. Okay, we'll get on that ticket.
Yeah, snapshots. We'll cover it in a couple of minutes after we've done with this.
Cool, sounds good.
All right. The calling module has also seen a couple of changes. So what we have done very recently is to make sure that all of your actions are accessible from the small window when you decide to minimize a call. The idea for that is that if you're on a call using the app and you are trying to find some information that you would like to impart on that call, of course, you would love to, of course, minimize the call and then go around all the different modules, maybe looking for the right information that you want to pass on. So then you have the option to mute yourself from the window here, as well as end the call once it's done. So you don't have to open the call window once again and then tap on end to, just get this over with. But yeah, that's how we've made, some minor improvements to our calling module. Yeah, so this is also going to be coming live very soon. We are almost done with the development. We are just looking at the final bits of testing just to make sure that everything runs perfectly. Okay, so calendars. A lot of things that are coming up for calendars specifically. And the first thing that we are shipping out is going to be a brand new list view for the calendar. So we have decided to modernize the entire design and to accommodate for a lot.
Recording in progress.
Go ahead, muted him.
Yeah. For a lot of different features that were present on web but were missing from the mobile app for a very long time, those will be accommodated for with this brand new release. So the idea is that all of your listings will be available for the selected date that you can see. And right now, the way we will be doing this is that if you tap on a date, there won't be an endless list of all your future events as well. You get to view the events for a particular date, and it just makes sense because you do not want to get lost in the endless scroll cycle. So that's something that we will be changing here. There will be a legend that is accessible from the top left if you tap on the light bulb icon, which pulls this up, and you get to see the key or the legend for all of your events. So you will know which events are your Google Calendar events, which ones are your Apple Calendar. So there's complete segregation also, but in a very, very seamless implementation. So all of this will be here. And along with this, we are going to be introducing a few other features for calendars, which would be number one, of course, multiple calendar support. Something that has been on the cards for a very long time, and a lot of people have been requesting for this. So we are bringing this over just in the exact same way how it works on web, because everyone is used to how it works. So the idea will be that the location dropdown that was there on the top left here, sorry, not the location dropdown, the calendar dropdown that allowed you to switch between different calendars, was available on the top left here, and it still is today. So we will be moving this down here, and then if you tap on this, it opens up a bottom sheet where you can choose multiple calendars, multiple users, or multiple groups. Whatever you deem necessary, you can switch between these tabs. You can make selections as necessary. And once you hit confirm, you will see that all of your calendars that or all of your selections that you've made are visible here. And your event page will then reflect the events from every single calendar that you have selected here. So that is something that is coming out very, very soon. So definitely stay tuned for this.
Awesome. I love that one. It'll be very helpful.
Awesome. So with this, there's also another feature that we are rolling out for calendars, and that would be, of course, here's a sneak peek. There's the icon right here, and it's sharing links. So the idea is that if you tap on this, you get to pull up your scheduling link, be it your regular scheduling link or your permanent link. And you can even switch to a one-time link, and there we go. Yeah. So all of this is accessible. And all you have to do is just tap on share. And this opens up your device native share sheet. So if you're on iOS, for example, and you tap on share, it'll open up your share sheet where you have the option to share your link via, say, messages, iMessage, WhatsApp, email, all these different options that you have today. So select the channel that is applicable for you, and you will be able to quickly share your link. So
Awesome.
was a long time to you, but would be rolling out very, very soon. And of course, with this, there's another feature for calendars. Yeah, there's going to be a big month for calendars for sure. And that is the ability to support multi-day events. So the idea being that as of today, if you have an event that spans over a couple of days, or maybe even just 2 days, right? You do not have any indication inside your list view. So you don't know exactly which event is the one that is going to be spanning across different dates. So now this will be coming over, and you will see a tag next to it that's, well, all day, or a tag of this sort that will let you know that this is a multi-day event. So couple of refinements, couple of enhancements to calendars, appointments. So yeah, definitely hope you all are excited for this. And in case there are some other requests, I'll be happy to hear those for calendar specifically.
Not seeing anything other than Dutch Texan being cheeky and wanting this done August 1. The multi-day event seems amazingly useful for all kinds of different use cases. I mean, I can think of 3 or 4 right off the top of my head, so that should be super, super useful.
Agreed. Especially when there are events and just meetups in general. This will
Yeah,
be
or you even if you're doing property management and you want to book like, a bungalow for a few days, you can now kind of have that ability. So awesome.
one.
Dia, you've got a question here?
Yeah, a quick question. Is it only the all day indicator that will be shown if it's an all day event? What if it's a 1 hour event every day for this week? What would be the indicator?
If it's a 1 hour event, I think there are going to be different labels for this. So we are in the stage of refining the final design to make sure that we accommodate for every single possibility. So once we roll this out, you will have clear information around, over what duration this event spans and what the frequency looks like.
Okay, so theoretically, we'd have the ability to do recurring events over a set period of time, and they would just kind of waterfall over.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see. I'm not seeing any other calendars questions. We'll get back to the conversation stuff in a minute, Rusi.
They're not as fun.
Cool.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so the next thing is, of course, it's a small change, but definitely makes life much more simpler. And this is the ability to have persistent filters under your opportunities section. So the idea being that if you set a couple of filters, which gives you the right information at a bird's eye view, you don't want to lose context to it when you exit the app and come back again, and then you have to set the same filters once again to get to your, well, sweet spot. So of course, to solve for that, we will just be making filters persistent, just the way it is there in a couple of different business apps. And to get rid of those, you will have to manually remove these filters and just reset it back to how it was. Or you can change the filter selection to something else, and that will be retained as well. So I think this is already something we have finished across conversation and contacts. So opportunities is next on our list.
Super excited for persistent filters. My number one feature ask for sure. And is this done per
This will be per user, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Got it.
All right,
Is the same
cool.
done on the desktop app as well?
I'll have to double check if this is already there on desktop. I think it should be. If it's not, I'll pass over that feedback to the team to make sure that they also do
I know it's been
basically add
discussed for sure. So if it's not done, it should be soon here.
calendars for restaurant table booking. Huh. Okay, for
Yeah,
this.
this is part of a larger discussion. I think Shivam had weighed in on this, that we were talking about breaking out a different calendar type, which would, as I recall, like incorporate custom objects and so forth, which could accommodate for this whole like table issue, and also on the property management side type thing as well, where you've got essentially these objects that you want to schedule in different ways. That's sort of an ongoing discussion, but there's definitely a plan for how to address it. It's just not going to be a right around the corner kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong on any of that, but that was my understanding from Shivam's explanation a couple of weeks ago on a town hall.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Cool. Okie dokie.
All right, perfect. So moving on, for September, we have the social planner. So social planner is something that is already in progress. We have built out a bunch of different components, but since it's a very, very, very massive module, we are making sure that we do our due diligence and make sure that everything works exactly in the same manner as it does on web today. So we will be rolling this out in September, and we will make sure that YouTube, which has just recently launched, and I think it was on the wish list for a vast majority of users. That is also incorporated in our first release for Social Planner. So this will be rolling out in September. You will have the ability to connect accounts from here. Just make sure that if your accounts are already connected on web, they will automatically reflect here, or you can connect new ones. You can toggle between different views. So you will have monthly view, weekly view, as well as a list view if you just want to get rid of the calendar and make sure that all of your social posts are available on the same page. You will also have filter support. All the filters are there on web, all the complexities. If you want to filter it down to your scheduled posts, not your public posts, you can do that. Couple of different options, couple of different combinations that are possible. So all of this will be rolling out. And of course, we will also have AI to assist you with drafting content for your social posts. So yeah, it's a very exciting feature, and this will be live before the end of Q3. So definitely stay tuned for any announcements we make around this.
That's fantastic. Do we know how that's going to interact with the media library?
Yes, 100%. So media library is something that you use for adding media files to either your social posts, or if you're using another module like maybe you're creating your product library for your payments, you use a media library there. So media library will be very tightly integrated with the social planner, and we will be launching support for it, of course, on the mobile app too. So I'm
That
just
was a
for
great
us.
segue, by the way.
I agree. Yes. The idea for us is that since you are on a mobile device, you have access to your camera throughout the day, right? 24/7 essentially. So if you are, say, in the bakery business, let's assume, right? And you would like to set up your product catalog because you're just opening your bakery and you would like to make sure that your point of sale or your invoices have all of your products ready to be used. So you will be able to use your media library to quickly snap a picture of, well, the baked good that you have prepared, upload that to the media library, and then either use the products module on the mobile app or just head over to web because it's the same media library that you're going to carry forward. And then the same media file can also be used inside your social planner to maybe set up some promotions for your grand opening of the bakery. So all of your media files that you capture from your mobile device are accessible on web, and all the media files that you upload directly from web via another source, maybe if you Googled up an image or if you received an image from somewhere else, you upload that to your media library, and that is accessible once again on your mobile app. So very, very seamless integration is something that we are aiming for, and we will be rolling this out in September.
Dutch Texan.
That is so
Question.
exciting.
All right. Other apps, they have always the option of take a picture or take a video out of the app.
Mm.
Is that something that's also coming? I mean, this is great, don't get me wrong, and I can make a picture and then go into this app and post it. But will we have that feature just because our users are used to it with basically every other app?
Yes, we have planned for this. We do want to just double check on how this would fit with the media library. If anything that you use automatically gets uploaded there, or if you just use it for one-time purpose, just open up your phone, snap a picture, and use it in the necessary module. We're figuring out the works of it, and once we have something concrete, next town hall, I'll definitely have a solid plan around this.
It's probably just easier just automatically save it and then allow the user to delete it afterwards if they don't want to retain it.
Right, right.
Yeah, I think we might. I mean, we'll see what happens. The team is obviously working on it, but having the option seems like the best way to do it because some people,
Yeah.
if they have a work phone or you don't want certain things getting saved certain places or what have you. But anyway, I think optionality is probably where we'll go, if not in the first phase, certainly second. Cool.
Yeah. Okay,
Awesome.
so on media library. Oh, sorry, I think back. And then we are looking at a revamp of our contact section. So this is something I think we touched upon over the last town hall, but now there has been significant progress made on this area. So the contacts module is looking to come to life very, very soon. The idea being that this lies at the center of every single functionality that you want to access. So generally, when you make a call, it's to a contact. If you want to send out a message, an email, maybe set an appointment or request payment from someone, it's generally through a contact, right? So all of those quick options will be accessible here. So if you want to maybe book a quick meeting, you just tap on this. The contact is already pre-filled. You just define all the other details, add the link. There you go. You're good to go. If you would like to request for a payment instantly, you just tap on this, enter the amount, accept the payment. You will also have all these different sections. So whatever the contacts app supports today on web, almost everything will be porting over to the mobile app with this brand new redesign. So if you look over to the contact section, you will see that there are folders now, right? The way it works today is that all of your general info is just recorded under contact info. And it doesn't matter if you have introduced custom values and you have reordered everything inside different folders. It will still populate under one single folder. So all of your custom values appear under one single folder on the mobile app. But the idea is that the way your contact card is structured on web, it should reflect on the exact same manner on your mobile app. So all your folders, all of your custom values will now be accommodated for with this brand new redesign. So if you have, say, moved your first name and last name under business info instead of general info, well, that's how you will see it then. And your general info, if it contains a questionnaire, maybe that's how you will see it. So completely making sure that whatever you have set up on web and you're used to that, that should reflect on mobile. So it doesn't really feel alienated in any aspect. So along with that, you will have activity. So under activity, whatever activity has been performed will be visible just as it is on web. Your surveys, everything would appear in a very mobile friendly manner. You will have your tasks, notes, appointments, and even documents and files. So if a contract or a document was sent out to a particular contact, you will see a record of this under that contact section. So everything is there. You will have a search bar to look up all the important information. You will be able to see at a glance who the contact owner is going to be and who are the followers of the contact. So yes, everything's going to be accessible, and we are very excited to roll this out soon.
Yeah, this is huge, and like has been mentioned in the chat, this makes a pretty good case for building a white label branded app.
I
So
agree.
if you haven't gotten on that train, you should check it out and see if that's something you want to do, because I think this could be leveraged really nicely.
100%. Yes. White
Hey
label.
Ryan, I missed it. What was the part about the white mobile app that this
Well,
helps?
there are just some comments in the chat here about like this makes the app really worth it because of these new features that are going to be coming out where it's really matured as a product. So you're not, it in other words, it's a super nice value to have all these extra things that are, this really nice looking app instead of just, hey, you can do POS, you can do contact management, you can text some people, but that's kind of it. Now, we've got documents and contracts, access to the social planner, media library, the redesigned contact card. So it's just going to make the app experience a lot better for the users, and branding it to your white label brand is something that, maybe you should consider for that reason.
Okay, cool. Do you know, is it still deployed behind the regular updates?
Yeah. So I'm sure the team's got some more color on that.
I'm sorry, Jenna, can you just repeat that?
Her question was, in terms of the updates that get pushed, it kind of goes
Right.
like high level lead connector and then the private white label afterwards.
Right. Well, we are solving for this. So the plan would be that white label customers, of course, get priority access to most of these features. We will be shifting gears on this very soon because, of course, with the white label program, you should be able to get the access to a lot of these features first, maybe provide some feedback, and we will be shipping out refinements to you soon. The problem that exists today is that every time the update goes live, we have to ship out that same update for the white label app, and that has to pass through Apple and Google's approval processes. And with that, maybe Apple and Google sometimes may object to something because if they have seen a similar app before, they are generally, well, they are people who would raise questions. They would put everything under scrutiny, and this is why it gets delayed a little bit. But we are doing our best to solve for it, of course.
And to also part of that question, do you know how behind it is, like generally speaking? Just if somebody asked me that way, I know.
It's
So,
usually not behind. So, like these, so from our side, we try our best to keep the app updated as soon as a new version of lead connector is released. The only delay can happen when things like, so there are compliance that are involved. We as on our company account, both at lead connector and high level, we try to be as compliant as possible. But when it goes to our customers, right, these compliances, for example, something as basic as accepting an agreement every 3 months, which needs to be done by the account owner. So if that agreement is not accepted, generally the update gets delayed because we are not able to push that update. So it's these kind of things which usually cause the delay, apart from some operational challenges which we are already solving and we already know. But overall, in a nutshell, if we say it's not, the difference is not that huge. If a app version goes out in lead connector, it's usually within a week that the white label gets all the updates as well.
I don't know if we want to get into this, but can you guys comment on the difference between the white label app, how that's deployed, and then how the collab white label is deployed?
Uh, it's the same infra. It's the same CI/CD pipeline that we are using. The compliance and the nitty-gritties of getting the developer account is still the same. At our end, we are able to just optimize the process of updates better, and hence we are offering at a discounted price. Since the operational load and the kind of data that we have to show, like the app is much more bigger when we talk about high level and lead connector. In terms of getting these features updated and things like that. So we incur a cost, and that is actually the reason why the main app is a bit expensive compared to Collab. But operationally, being compliant, getting your own developer account, everything is still the same. Like actually the team is same who is working on the CIC pipeline. So there's not much of a difference, Charles. Like what exactly, like why exactly do you feel Collab has a better process?
Well, maybe it's just less documented. Well, it's still in beta, so there hasn't been near as many issues with it. And then the documentation
Oh no, Charles, the documentations are not.
makes it seem a lot simpler than what the white label app is, because like with the whole 3 month, getting developer accounts, getting every 3 months, redoing paperwork, and like it sounds like I'm signing up for a freaking headache, more than a benefit. To me, I mean, and I understand, I mean, from it to be come from my own, I I guess I see a world where there's a white label app name by lead connector. My biggest thing is you can't get away from lead connector. So there's no point in trying to hide lead connector. You're never going to get away from lead connector in high level. It's always going to be right in front of your face. Because every other third party integration, that's what you're going to see. So hiding it in Zapier and the white label app, okay, I can see the benefit, but if all I'm doing is signing up for an absolute headache and 2 to 4 months worth of time to even get it launched, and then be constantly behind in all the updates and have to do additional paperwork every 3 months, what the heck am I paying for? Now if it was $50 a month, okay, I'll deal with some extra headache for $50 a month. But you're asking me to spend a significant amount of money and incur a lot of extra time and effort and headaches. I just think the process needs to be, if the process was better, if it was more seamless, I wouldn't even care. Personally, I wouldn't care if the app was housed under the Lead Connector brand, as long as everything within the app itself was branded to me. I don't know what the answer is, but just seems like the current process. I know there's a lot of people that have major reservations of going white label because it's been such an absolute nightmare for so many people.
I completely get it, Charles. But again, like the process part of it, right? Like imagine we like if we were able to make it super simple, we would have done it already. So there are
Yeah.
things which we cannot control, like for example, the documentation and compliance, right? We can tell you that, hey, we will be doing the documentation, we will be owning the developer account, you just pay us. That can be one scenario. But again, that would not work out, because at the end of the day, if a business is running an app, the developer account is owned by someone else, there might be a place where we have to give like documented proof to the Apple and Google administration regarding who is owning the account, who is using the account, what are the personas and things like that. So the documentation and the process that is involved, it's something that is a very tricky and a very like a specific category. Not everyone goes through the same hassle that a handful goes on. Like when you talk about an app getting live in 1 month, I have seen apps getting live in 2 days as well. So it's quite a place where someone has a bad experience because of the process. Again, the process that we cannot control, while someone for someone it's as seamless as it can get. We have optimized it to a level where we can deliver apps in 2 days, but again, we cannot be 100% sure that the app would be live in 2 days, because there are some external nitty-gritties that we have to abide by. That is the place we are right now in. And but like given all that, it's our responsibility actually to make it even better.
Yeah.
Be more aware about what we are doing. So Urvash and the
Well,
whole
and my biggest, and I can appreciate all that. And my biggest concern about this is that honestly, at this point, like base, even if it is 1 out of 100, I would want to, if there's any, when it comes to like the collab app, being white labeled, if it's 1 out of 100 have an issue with the white label Lead Connector app and have an issue with the app marketplace, I honestly I want to opt out of the white label collab app. I don't want that thing to show anywhere in the platform, because that's a piss poor customer experience that could cause someone to churn, where it's not worth, the risk isn't worth the reward. I'd rather have a PWA, if the process is going to be that difficult for an end user, because I mean, you're talking about difficulties with technical people or semi-technical people. Imagine what it's going to be like with non-technical end users.
Mhm.
So I mean, this goes down a whole nother rabbit hole, but I mean, it's just,
No, we are
it's
trying to make
unfortunate.
the
It's
education.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I get you, Charles. Like, but we are trying to make the education piece a lot more easier. Video tutorials of how to get things done, like as much of push as we can. But said that, like we have tried, and it's a tried and tested kind of a scenario right now, that we have tried everything possible to bring.
Documentation isn't the issue. I can draw a smiley face for you and I can say, hey, I can ask you, what is this? But if you've never seen a face smile, you don't know what it is. It doesn't matter how many ways I draw that smiley face.
That's
So from an
exactly.
end user perspective, it doesn't matter how much documentation you provide. If they've never had, some of these people are doing good to even get into the app store, let alone create a developer account. But to Richard's point, I mean, we were just on the topic of it, so I wanted to bring it up. But
Yeah, I mean, it's good feedback. This is gonna be an ongoing discussion, and so we'll come back to it for sure. But is there anything else that that we've got to present here in terms of new features and stuff. Brandon, I'll get to you in a second.
Well, we are towards the end of the mobile, and
Yeah,
this
snapshots as well. Urvash keeps scrolling. Keeps presenting. So this went live today. A very interesting, this is something that we wanted to do for our community, especially with people who sell snapshots, make good snapshots, and try to generate a small term income from generating this, creating this snapshot. IP protection is nothing but basically we will be giving you an option wherein the assets in your snapshot, when you IP protect them, send it across to a individual, they import the snapshot, they won't be able to create another snapshot of that sub account. Like snapshotting a snapshot won't be possible. So your asset stays yours as long as you enable this little checkbox before you share the link. It works with all the snapshots, permanent link, one-time link, agency share link, and everything else. So yeah, as simple as that, but as beautiful as it can get. This will definitely help you preserve your snapshots in the long run. Next slide, please, Urvash. Okay, so this is how it will look like. So let's say a user imported a snapshot and he has created a sub account. Now he is trying to create a snapshot using that same sub account which was used, which got created from IP protected snapshot. So this little restricted assets that you see here. So when you click on create snapshot, this will be restricted, which means all of these assets will get copied over to the snapshot, but these will not be get copied over because these are basically IP protected. And the fun fact or the something to note about these assets is if this is IP protected, you clone this asset, the cloned asset also has the same IP protection. So even if they clone and they try to snapshot it, this won't work. So by all means, we are trying to protect your intellect. We are trying to protect your assets, and we definitely want to empower you more for this whole community who is actually building good snapshots for our users.
I have a question regarding
Yeah,
protected. I noticed that you were talking about funnels on website specifically. Does this include things like workflows and such?
Your voice is a bit muffled. Is it just me?
Yeah, we can't really hear you, man.
My bad. Let me go ahead and. Can you hear me a little better now?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Sure.
I raise the volume a minute. So does this IP protection also extend to workflows? I noticed that funnels and websites, you kind of mentioned example, are included in that restricted, but will that also include automation?
Let me repeat of what I heard. So you're saying funnels and website and all workflows and automation, everything will be IP protected. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, that's what I'm asking specifically about the workflow.
Yes.
Will that be
All the assets,
okay?
all the assets that we support right now in snapshots will have the ability to be IP protected. Everything.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, next slide. I think Urvash, I'll just take the screen and maybe explain through Figma what we are doing here.
Yep, sure.
So snapshot history is mainly what we are trying to do is, so there might be situations where you are pushing your snapshots to, let's say, 50 different accounts, or you're trying to create a new sub account wherein you see that, hey, 10 of these assets, I had like 50 workflows, but 40 of them went through, 10 didn't went through. I don't know what didn't went through. You keep coming back. Hey, I am trying. Like the only thing that you have to do after that is try to push that snapshot again, and it's a loop. Hey, I did it again and it didn't work out. So there's not enough visibility of what happens after a snapshot push has started. So what we are trying to do is we are introducing something called view history, wherein for every push, for every new sub account that you create using the snapshot, we will be storing the history, and we will also be allowing you to retry selectively. What I mean by that is, let's say this is the snapshot which you use to push to, let's say, 10 different sub accounts. So on the history page, you will be seeing the push date, 22nd Jan 2021 or whatever, the date that you have pushed. Its status, either it's still in process or it has failed or it has completed. Completed is basically when all the assets is actually successful, all the locations, all the assets successful. Failed is basically when some of them got pushed while some of them got failed. And again, processing is basically number of locations which has like it's still under process. The snapshot push has not yet been completed. So while on this screen, you can click on this little refresh button, which will actually not ask you to push that snapshot again to all of these locations, but you can only refresh it to these 4 locations that got failed. Similarly, over here, if you can see, this is a failed snapshot. You've pushed it to 12 locations. 10 of them got successfully imported, but 2 of them failed. You just have to click on refresh and these 2 locations will be refreshed. Even better, even if you want, like you want to see, hey, looks like 10 locations not successful, but which 2 locations got failed? Do I need to do it now or maybe I can do it later? So over here, you can come and see the list of locations which has been successfully completed versus versus a location which is failed, right? Or has not been able to get through. This is the second level of segregation we are giving, but we want to go a little deeper wherein, hey, this location has failed, but I want to see which assets have failed. So we are also giving you an asset level view of which assets have failed in which particular location. You can do a collective retry by selecting an all and hitting the retry button, or you can go as deep as at an asset level where you want to just push that asset and want to retry. So the retry works at all the 3 levels. You can retry at a location level, whichever locations has failed. You can retry individually by selecting the individual locations, or you can retry at an asset level inside an individual location. All of 3 of them would be possible. This might be a very like an advanced use case wherein you are pushing to maybe one location and you might want to let go some of the assets, but uh, select rest of them to retry. But yeah, like this would be pretty much helpful for everyone where you are trying to refresh after a snapshot push has occurred to the locations which have failed. I'll get back to the chat screen. Yeah, Ian, I think I've already answered your question, right? Does it show if all assets has been loaded into the sub account?
Yeah, you already answered. Thank you.
Yeah. Brandon, do you have a question? I know that was a little while ago.
Yeah, I kind of want to caveat a little bit on what Charles said. I've been on these meetings for some time, and one of the things that I've known is that, Charles knows a lot. And I think everyone that's on this understands the how much Charles is very passionate about this. And what I've really seen is that he's shown a lot of what we feel. On December 13th, 2023, I went and put up a suggestion about the PWA, what we talked about. And what Charles said exactly, like if we can't get away from lead connector, and that's understandable, why isn't there a much affordable way where we could do a progressive web application? And I went in and I just didn't throw a simple little write up. I did an extensive write up on why I think that would be so important on both ends for other agencies out there, and also how it would be beneficial to high level. So maybe we get a chance to look at that and see, because a lot of that frustration that Charles is talking about is the same thing, the same way I feel. And I think there's a lot of people feel the same way. And these are things that we're asking for, and we're seeing a lot of different things being added, and is making other things not be so stable. Why not work on the things that we're really asking and want that could really make a difference in our individual businesses, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, definitely appreciate your point of view there, and thanks for taking the time to write all that out. Don't disagree with you there. So we'll definitely take a look. Dutch Texan.
Maybe it's me, but when I have a snapshot, there is some information from a snapshot missing from one account to the next account. For example, in workflows, the if question, the if all of a sudden disappears, like the if is still there, but the value is there not. So which field is, for example, empty or whatever. So there's a lot of things when we use a snapshot, we still need to go back and fix basically so that the snapshot is working properly. Am I the only one that runs in those problems, or is this an platform-wide thing?
For that, I would need to get, because that is not the expectation. Like everything inside a workflow should go through. If it's not going through, if there's a bug in the system, and especially if you can point out those instances and either send us a
I
ticket
can
or maybe
point out yesterday, for example, if in the workflow wasn't working, one of the websites, or all the websites except one, didn't come over, and I was with support on a
Okay.
call, and they have no clue why. But
Why don't you drop the ticket number? Because
I
mean,
don't have a
I
ticket
totally
number,
hear you
but
here,
I
but
can.
we just don't
Yeah.
want to be going down
we need something
individual
to
use
run it
case
down,
issues.
because that is not a general expectations, right? So
Okay, so it should be working all good. So that's my only question. Then I can have a one-on-one or like.
We'll fix it for sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Jenna. No, Jenna? Okay.
Sorry, it took me a second.
Oh yeah, all
so
good.
piggyback off of like the snapshot IP protection thing. So what if somebody sells you like the ability to have like an agency snapshot, which I do to some of my affiliates, but I don't want them to give it to other agencies, for example. Is there a way to like allow it across like their whole sub account, or is that like coming soon or whatever?
So you can use the same snapshot to create as many sub accounts. Then that's not the restriction. The restriction we are putting in here is if you have created a sub account using a snapshot which is IP protected, you cannot create another snapshot from that sub account. That snapshot can be used to create a number of sub accounts. That's not the restriction. Like create as many sub accounts as you want, but you cannot snapshot that snapshot again. That's what we are pointing out. Like you cannot duplicate it, duplicate the sub account using another snapshot and sell it forward, something like that. Does it answer, or like I may try to explain it in a better way?
Can you explain that one more time?
Yeah. So imagine I am an agency, right? Or I am an affiliate. I give you a snapshot link which you import in your agency, and you start creating your sub accounts using that snapshot, right? That was your first case. Like, would I be able to create as many sub accounts using that snapshot?
Yeah. So
like
just to cap this off real quick, you've got, if you sell the sub account to somebody, they can then distribute it one tier down, but then those people can't go another tier down and start reselling it themselves. Does that make sense? Like it's like
Okay,
one.
yeah. So they can make as many snaps or sub accounts off that one snapshot that I give them.
Yeah,
Right.
Is that
But
right?
but like
Okay.
those people can't go like levels down essentially. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's perfect then. I just wanted to
Cool.
make sure that was the case. Thank you.
Yeah. Shauna.
Hi, do you mind, maybe I missed it, but repeat where the history is located for the snapshots, where I can see what failed?
So the history is still work in progress. Like it's not out yet. It would be
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, it's just a preview. Just a taste.
Man,
I know.
like, oh, I'm so excited. Okay, darn.
It
But an
would be
August thing?
Definitely, we'll show you when it comes out though. It's gonna be great.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Brian.
September, mid of September or end of September kind of a thing. Like it's just started to get in depth.
Yeah.
All right,
Brian,
I'll feel
what's
free
up?
to test it and everything if you need somebody to volunteer.
Okay.
think so.
Okay, thanks.
Brian, what's up, man?
Yeah. So, well, one of my questions was going to be what she just asked, that snapshot history. So that looks like because we have been pushed out some snapshots, and then the customer comes back to us and it's not working the way they expected. And then we go look at it and it's like, wait a minute, why didn't this load, or this loaded weird? So that's the
Yeah,
goal of the history, is to be able to see certain things didn't get it, didn't make it. Is that right?
yep, that's exactly right.
Okay. And then the other thing I had is earlier in the conversations, one of the challenges that I have, it's just the way I do business, maybe, and a lot of people like me in my world, if I want to be on the mobile app, I really need to be able to see unread conversations versus unread notifications / tasks. For a while there, they would say unread. This was like months ago. If it said I had 2 or 3, I knew it was conversations. And then there was some decision made that said, hey, if there's anything unread, and so it'll show like 40 or 20, because I get notified when a new email goes out to customers through automations, and so it's just so I know, oh, I forgot about that customer, or that's somebody I've been working on. And when they get sent an email, sometimes it prompts me to go, hey, you know what, let me give them a call, because they just got email 6 of 12 in my automation, and it's a good time to reach out to them. But then when I'm in the field going fast, next, I look at my phone and it says I got 6 unreads. I don't know if that's conversations that I need to respond to. And then I have to go into, and I manage under 3 different sub accounts. So my fault, not yours. But when I go to them, there's a little green dot on each one. And so then I have to stop, click on it, go to the thing, show unread, next. And so I really just need to be able to know, if I have an unread, is that unread a conversation, an email, a text, something that I got to reply to? Or is that a notification I can get to later?
So
essentially, the way it works right now is that it's your notification count that is being reflected on the badge number. So it could be either an unread conversation, or it could be a new appointment that has been booked, or it could be, anything else. Maybe a new task has been assigned, or some status change has happened. The idea was that a lot of people were getting confused initially when we used to have the badge count being reflected by the count of your unread notifications. So what people used to do was to head over to the notification section right here and just tap on, well, mark all notifications as read, if you can see here. I think it's going to be a little.
Yeah, I've done that, but I think it marks my conversations as read as well.
Right. So this is a problem. And the thing is, we are not looking for an interim solution for this. We are thinking of rebranding this entirely to make sure that notifications work in a much, much more seamless manner. And you have granular control over how you set your notifications up. So your badge count could reflect maybe only your unread conversations and nothing else. Even if you get a push notification about a new appointment being booked, your badge count would not reflect that. So we are working towards this, but the thing is that this will require a lot of collaboration, and we are looking for the best possible timeline to get this out. But this will happen in this year. This I can assure you.
Okay, and then if we remove somebody from a snapshot, does that just get taken care of theoretically? I mean, we can't delete the assets. Let me be clear on that, but they would no longer be able to share it going forward.
I didn't get the question. Like, is it possible to remove someone from a snapshot you have loaded in the future? As in, like, you want to revert a snapshot push from an account, like you push to a certain account and then you take those assets back. Is that something you're talking about?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, so like when I'm pushing out snapshots and like I've created this premier level, and if they downgrade, how can I take them out? So when I push future snapshots, I'm not having to unselect them as an option. Does that make sense?
So you're saying, got it. Yeah. So this is something that we are bringing in. And so let me get it right. You're saying that you have sold a snapshot as part of your SaaS plan, and now they are downgraded and they don't have access to that SaaS plan. So now you want to push that snapshot, like you're pushing that snapshot, and because that person was part of the initial list, he's getting those updates, right? And
Yeah,
you don't want that.
Yep, I have to manually uncheck that account to exclude them from any future releases that I'm doing in the snapshot.
Yeah. So what we are doing is we are bringing in something called, and I went this like through the designs in the last town hall. It's called snapshot settings, where you will get the option to unlink location. Just like you see linked locations, you would be able to unlink locations and click on save. So once you do that, that location will be unlinked from that snapshot, and then future updates won't go to that particular location.
Beautiful. When did you say that was coming?
This would
Soon.
this it's already dev completed. Like again, I won't try to overcommit, but somewhere around mid of August, you should have this up and running.
The ability to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I have one more question. Is it okay if I ask one more question?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I'm fairly new to this. I've been doing it for now about 8 months, and so best practices. What I'm doing is I try to create snapshots based on major features, and then I create bigger snapshots that consume them so that I can just push stuff to there. Is there some plan to like help with the administration of snapshots and what's included, or is that still going to be just the best way to do things?
I'm not really following you. What's the issue with administration?
So let's say I have 5 snapshots, right? One is for feature 8, 1 through 5. And then I create this master snapshot that has all 5 features so that I can push everything out at one time. So I've got to manage, 5 different snapshots. I've got a master. So effectively I have 6 snapshots to manage that. I'm all doing that separately.
Why don't you create everything, like put everything in one single account and then use a master snapshot to
I think because I don't have the link issue, I think maybe that will solve it, because that's what I'm doing. I have a master snapshot, and then I've got all these sort of subs that I push. So when I make feature changes, I'm making those feature changes, and then I know what to push out as opposed to trying to hunt like which custom values or whatever. So the management of pushing out features, there's no manager. Like you just got to manage it yourself. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know you deal with a lot of industries, but there's no way to manage it except for segmenting features in a way that you guys don't, I guess you don't foresee you ever doing anything to help with the management of releasing.
I get
There's
it. So
no release management. That's
you're
the problem.
looking for something like an auto mode that pushes snapshots, updates every time you do some changes, like something like that.
Just some way to manage a release. Like there's no way to manage releases of features in a, I mean, my background's in IT, right? So I'm like having to version out and again, that's my problem. Not trying to have you guys solve that, but there is no way to manage feature releases in the snapshot as you add on new functionality, as you add on new automations, as you add on, there's no way to manage it. Like, and do you guys, am I the only one who has that problem?
Like I'll take a last try. So you're looking for something like a GitHub, where we have version control of every snapshot. Every version becomes its own, like V1, V2, V3, V4, and you are able to trace back to the older version, something like that.
Man,
Like,
yeah. I think you just took the words out of my mouth. Yes.
I don't disagree with. I think what you're doing, it makes sense to me in a way. I think it's just very advanced from what most SaaS companies are doing, where it's like if there's something that gets updated, you go to the snapshot, you update it, you refresh it in the snapshot settings, and then you're kind of done. But by and large, we're not adding like massive new modules that would require a lot of like manual configuration on the snapshots. But definitely maybe we'll take this conversation offline. If you want to email me, I'll just drop my email in here and maybe I can help you out. But just in the interest of time, I know we're over here. So
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yep. All right. Anybody else before we adjourn? Charles?
Mute. You are on mute, Charles.
You're on mute. Well, your mic's on
There we
mute.
go.
Okay.
So I put it in the chat, but wanted to make sure I understand. So if I buy a snapshot from whoever, they turn on the IP protection, I will not have the ability to make any changes to that snapshot and then re-snapshot it. Because most often that's what happens.
Yep,
I
you
mean,
won't be
we
able to.
may make minor adjustments or, you know, things to make it better suit our business.
The only way you would be able to copy it is by opening it in two different screens and rebuilding it one by one. If you clone it using high level, the IP protection tag gets carried over. No matter what changes you do in the cloned asset, you won't be able to snapshot it.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thanks very much for the lively discussion, everybody, and for Niloshish and Rabash for presenting. We will see you tomorrow. Well, some of us will. I will be there, and I hope to see you there as well. And again, if you get any follow-up questions we didn't quite get to, you want to iron out, you can always email me, and I can get it to the right person, and we'll move forward from there.
Thank you.
Cool, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a
Bye.
good Monday.
You too.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Have a great rest of your week.